Namaste, my name is Sanat Kumar. Welcome back to the Manana podcast. Manana is a Sanskrit word that means reflection or contemplation. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my deep, insightful reflections for you to contemplate and hence live a life of fulfillment. I hope you find great value in today's episode. Your awareness and your perception of your awareness are two separate entities. I think almost every blog I write, every podcast you listen to here is the result of observing people and addressing what I see, what I observe, right? So here is another phenomenon I was observing when I wrote this blog, Perception of Awareness. Today I want to introduce you to the concept called, which I call Transient Heightened Perception of Awareness. So this is a short period where you feel and perceive your sense of awareness increasing, and it feels as though it has reached a maximum or saturation point. You feel this sense of heightened awareness. You feel everything is in order and under your control. You feel every aspect of your life is categorized, and you feel you can recognize and categorize them with your awareness. You feel you are way ahead of your peers, way smarter, knowledgeable, wiser, or even successful than everyone around you. If continued in this delusion, a person ends up trapped in it, trapped in his ego, which will eventually destroy the being. I mean, it may be true that now you may have got more awareness than before, but when was the last time you checked on your ignorance? So today we will be seeing some signs or symptoms that show you whether you're held hostage by your ego. So number one, you are advising people even when not asked. This is a major one. Watch out carefully. And it might not even be advising, it may be like you want to win conversation so badly that even before the other person has started to come into the conversation, he's just trying to make his point yet, and you've already gone to win the battle there. There doesn't exist a battle, but you want to win that. So I've experienced this many a times when sometimes it might be technical aspects of filmmaking. So somebody might be arguing that we don't have 4K TVs and hence we don't need 4K cameras. And I say, yeah, we need 4K cameras because of their quality, and even though it is downscaled, that quality remains. Okay. Again, my point might be wrong, but the other person, even before he starts to listen to my point, he's already shooting down what he has, what he thinks is right, and he wants to twist my perspective to his and that which he thinks is right. So of course I have also been held hostage by my ego many a times, and I've recognized it, and of course every day is a battle. So you should keep an eye on your ego. And the second one is, again, it is related to the first one itself. You tend to talk more in a conversation than being a good listener. I think you've also experienced such kind of situations where a person is talking, or you might be the one who's talking so much than listening to what the other person is saying. Listening deliberately, listening very consciously, interested in the other person's conversation. Always remember, you've got 2 ears and one mouth. And the next one is, you feel this delusional bliss. You feel life is beautiful all of a sudden because you have everything under control. This is very much not true, right? This is very much delusional. Such kind of feeling is almost delusional because it is liberating and blissful only when you know that there is so much not in your control, not when you think everything is under control. I hope you're getting my point. There is liberation and bliss when you are aware that there is so much out of your control and there's nothing you can do about it. You do what is under your control in a very devotional manner. That is bliss, that is liberation. It is not bliss or liberation when you think everything is under control. That is purely delusional. Okay, so that is due to that might be one symptom that you are held hostage by your ego. So the next symptom is you're also likely to stagnate. This is of course, right? This is obviously so. This is natural. As your mind is dominant with ego, there won't be creativity. Creativity will not even be friends with you. And the other thing that happens is you may not realize you'll be doing what the average is doing. You might be doing what just others are doing and not what you truly want to make out of your creativity. So there is definitely stagnation, and not only in terms of creativity, in terms of your awareness also. Because when you think you know everything, then you don't have much to learn, right? So you don't learn much. And the last point is you tend to disregard the works of your peers, or even not just your peers, it might be even less consumption of great artworks. It might be Disney movies. They are the best artworks. If you ask me what is the best films, best movies I've watched from one single source, it is Disney. I would say Pixar because I prefer Pixar movies. And now Disney is the same. Disney and Pixar are the same, but I love Pixar movies when and they brought computer animation into film industry, and that is mind blowing. And the emotions that those characters express on screen is like mind blowing. How can a character that is created on computer has so much emotion, so much expression that the audience gets moved, right? So that is a piece of true artwork, and it is created by so many individual artists. That is fabulous. And talking about this symptom, you disregard such great artworks. You say you have no time, or you don't have patience to watch a movie, or it's not just movie, it might be a book, or it might be a blog, it might be a podcast. You tend to avoid it because as we said, you think you know everything, right? And you are in that delusional state, right, where everything is under your control. So this is primarily because your ego is trying to protect itself and the delusion of you being the best of all. Again, it knows it is the delusion, that is what it is trying to protect. But only your consciousness can see this is happening and try to remove that delusion. So these are the symptoms that you might be held hostage by your ego. But the good news is that this whole process is transient. That is why I named it transient heightened perception of awareness. Because most of the time it tends to go away on its own. The heightened perception of awareness comes back low when the person is struck by the chaos of life. You know, the life just gives a stroke, and then he or she realizes his state of ignorance. In other words, life gives a sudden quick peek into the person's true state of awareness, the consciousness, and through that, a view of this delusion he's in, right? By that, realizing his level of ignorance, which is usually more than the level of awareness, he comes out of the delusion and begins to seek awareness again. This is hopefully, okay? Usually this happens, but if it does not, you're in a big trouble, okay? Because I've seen many artists, I've seen many good people actually being held hostage by their ego, and they stagnate forever. They never overcome that. It is very tragical moment. Just understanding that kind of situation gives me shivers. It makes me feel sad for them. So it's also possible that if the person's ego is too strong, it holds to this delusion tightly without any intention to let go of it any soon. So the solution again comes down to awareness. Just be aware of the thoughts, emotions going inside yourself, and even the actions you are taking. And I think actions are very important because many of the times what we talk and what we act might be different. I think you might have noticed there are people who put some quotes on their status and stories, but it is an irony that that quote suits to them itself, not to others. They are trying to advise someone else, but they themselves have done the same mistake. And you realize that, oh my God, who is saying what, right? So stop advising everyone, start practicing humility by staying silent. When I say humility, it's not just when everything is all right, when you are in a good state of condition, you are not held hostage by your ego, but also when you go into a new situation. For example, you meet a new person or a group of people, and there they might be bragging about themselves or what the skills they have, or they might be bragging about what they own. But you need not you need not frustrate about it, or you need not brag about yourself or about your skill or about what you own, anything at all. You should stay humble. Practicing humility at such times is what I'm talking about. Just stay silent. Start practicing humility by staying silent and being the best listener in any conversation. And I think another thing that helps is surrendering to the supreme. You might call it the universe if you don't like God, and realize how tiny of a minuscule you are. And moreover, start working. Work is the best antidote for stagnation, for ego, for any negative thoughts to arrive at your mind. So it's the best way for you to stay healthy and away from your ego. And by working, you ensure there is no stagnation. As I said, work is the best antidote for stagnation. Look at the works and support your peers. And by this, you are not only boosting them with the encouragement they require, but also you're helping yourself overcome your ego and potentially increasing your chances to get more ideas. And finally, I would like to end this episode by what Ryan Holiday says: ego is the enemy. I hope you received excellent value in today's episode. To know more, head over to sanatkumarnahibi.com, and if you haven't already, check out my book, The Flower of Fulfillment. Thank you for listening, and I wish you have a great day.